Do you want to connect more deeply to your inner power, but don't know how to do it? By the end of this video, you'll have the tools you need to connect to your inner power today. Hi, I'm Briana Borten, and I help people awaken to their highest selves. For support in creating your sacred life, reaching your potential, and expanding your consciousness, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to get alerted when I post a new video every Monday. So in my Love Rising Collective, I lead hundreds of people to connect more deeply with their inner power, and I want to help you do it too. So the first step to connecting to your inner power is to quiet your mind and meditate. So I probably tell people, I don't know, maybe 200 times a week that this is such an essential part of our spiritual evolution, of connecting to our highest selves, to connecting to our inner power, to getting what we want in our lives, to accessing our potential. All of this really requires that we take the time to quiet our minds and meditate. So if you do not already have a meditation practice, I can't invite you strongly enough to start. And I know that it's hard. So I just want to say that a lot of times you just hear the advice like, yes, you should meditate. You should meditate every day, right? And how many of us are actually doing it? And I want to encourage you to just be super gentle with yourself, especially as you're starting, because you're going to sit down and you're going to close your eyes and you're just going to have kind of a closed-eyed thinking session. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll have a few moments of quiet and peace. And maybe if you're really lucky, you'll have a minute of quiet and peace. So just knowing that at the beginning, it really is a discipline to sit and do this, because the really fabulous results that we get from meditation come along the way. But first, it just takes the discipline to just do it. So do it, and also congratulate yourself for doing it. Even if it was mostly a closed-eyed thinking session, that's okay. As thoughts come in, just notice them and let them move along. But whatever you do, just keep trying. I really know you can do it, and it does take a little bit of time, effort, and discipline to get started. So the next step is to let go of your egoic judgments of right and wrong and good and bad. So this is such a huge step that we can take in our lives to really release the ways in which we have latched on to wanting to be right, or thinking that we're wrong, or thinking that somebody else is wrong, or really having to be good, or really knowing that we're bad. All of these ways in which we've identified ourselves and decided that this is right and this is wrong, and this is good and this is bad. And we divide and divide and divide. And the more we divide things up, the less we're able to really allow what is true and real to come through. So the more that we're able to almost have both, right? Right and wrong are two sides of the same coin. Can we just have both and realize that if we're playing with either one of those, if we're playing with having to be right or having to be wrong, that we're really just playing with a coin that we can simply let go of, or that we can even notice that we're just playing with, and that there really is no truth to that. And as we can start to release our need to be one way or the other way, what happens is that this natural channel opens up in us to allow our inner power to really move through. So I want to hear from you in the comments below. What are the egoic hooks that are the most challenging for you to let go of? Is it being right? We find this come up a lot, especially in arguments with loved ones, in family, with our partners, maybe even at work. Is it having to be good, where we have like the good girl or the good boy, or bad, the bad girl or the bad boy? What are the egoic hooks that you're like, yeah, I really like that one, and it's hard for me to release that? Just identifying it is a really wonderful first step to moving to letting it go and letting more flow happen of your true inner power. So as you start to release your egoic hooks from what is good and bad, all of these ways in which we have these egoic identities. See if you can start to bring all aspects of yourself and all aspects of your being into a field of love. So if you identify a part of yourself that either really enjoys being right, or a part of yourself that really clings on to a certain part, rather than admonishing yourself for doing that, just love that part too. It's almost like a game of inclusivity. Whenever we find a challenging, dark, crunchy, any aspect of ourselves, it isn't about finding it and shaming it away. It's about seeing how much we can love that aspect of ourselves too. So imagine it kind of like a game. Can you play a game of love, intense love for all of the aspects of your being? Every way you've been, every maybe phase you've gone through, any of the things that you actually still hold resentment towards yourself for, see if you can expand your love, extend your love to include that aspect of yourself as well. All of it belongs. All of it can be loved, and see how much you can love every aspect of your being that has been, that is, and that will be. The next step in connecting to your inner power is to connect to your highest self. So while you're in meditation, to see if you can start to access that place in yourself after you've removed all of the needs to be in these egoic opposites. And as you start to include all of yourself in a field of love, just simply see if there is some little bit of knowing that your highest self is there. And as you start to notice, it becomes more noticeable. So I think a lot of times what happens is people are like, well, I never have any access to my highest self. And I simply say, yeah, you actually do, but you're not noticing it. And when you don't notice it, it becomes less noticeable. But the more you become aware of it, the more you're looking for it, the more you're noticing it, the more it becomes noticeable. And when you're doing that, if you want to try, ask for guidance or an insight or an answer to something. So maybe you might get into that place and have access to your highest self, and then simply say, what would be the best action I could take to create an open and free feeling in my work situation with XYZ? And as you do, just remain open and receptive. So being able to connect to our inner power really means also being actively open and receptive. And sometimes I feel like this is a very hard part of this for us, because we can tend to want to kind of like dive at things and really like get it, right? But this is actually more of a feminine approach of opening and receiving. Just like all creation, there's the like go out and get it and the like open and receive it. And it takes both. So after you've asked, that's like the going out and putting yourself forth, then the next part is to be open and receive. And the best way to be open and receptive is just to continuously see if you can release any judgments of yourself or what's coming through, and saying yes. Believing in what you're receiving helps you become more and more receptive. So all of these ways of accessing our inner power really are kind of contained, right? They're self-contained within us. And sometimes it makes it hard for us to really be aware of it because it's all happening internally. The easiest way to witness your inner power and really see it is to activate it outside of yourself in service. So when you start to access your inner power and you're starting to access that beautiful wisdom that is inside of you and innate, then what you need to do in order to really start to see it is to start being in service outside of yourself. How can you move that love, move that wisdom from in here to out there? How can you help others? How can you help the world? And I see a lot of people stopping before they get there. And then they tend to go into this kind of like spiral of like, they're feeling like, oh, I see my inner power, but then it's just like stuck inside and they don't really witness it. And then they start to question it, and it can start to be like a spiral away from it. But when instead of doing that, you bring it out into service, then you can start to witness it outside of yourself. Like, oh, right, my inner power is real. I'm able to help others. And really being in service in the world is something that all of our souls really do crave. So don't stop yourself and get into service in the world, and you'll really witness your inner power. Using these steps, you'll be able to connect deeper and deeper to your inner power. If you wonder how then to harness your power to create what you want in your life, I encourage you to check out my course, Harness Your Power: How to Create Anything You Want Through Self-Discipline. It's an amazing course that creates results in your life quickly. I've put a link for you to check it out below. If you liked this video, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. And check out this video, how to start to awaken your spiritual consciousness to continue on your path. I know you're gonna love that video too. Sending you so much love.